Hey, so I just wanted to make a quick video about MTHFR and plexus. I have done a lot of research on both sides, just figuring out the ins and outs. Now, I am not an expert, and let me just say, I do not claim, and nor does plexus, to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease or ailment. So, let's get to it. So plexus and MTHFR. So how do you get the MTHFR gene mutation? Well, basically you get it passed either genetically or it gets switched on because it is a gene. So they estimate about 60% of the population to have an MTHFR gene mutation. Dr. Benjamin Lynch is where I am pulling majority of my information. So you can look up, I think it's mthfr.net is his website, but he's a good place to start. He's one of the leading doctors in that area. So some fun facts about MTHFR. So what does it do? It is part of the methylation cycle process. About, let's see, 85% of methylation occurs in the liver, and every cell has a methylation process. And so what that is basically the breaking down or the creation of different substances that your body and your cells need to live and operate and function well. So it's very important. So there's 1 billion methylation reactions occurring every second in your body. So that's a lot. So if that gets impaired, it's going to start a cascade effect. You don't really feel it that much at first, but then you can notice over time that there's a buildup, almost like toxins. And I'll get to like a picture of that in a minute. If the body can't use or methylate synthetic vitamins like folic acid or any synthetic form, because what has to happen for those synthetic vitamins or minerals or they have to be methylated. So if your methylation process is broken down, what happens? Those don't get methylated, they stay in your body and they basically become toxic because there's no way for your body to get it out. And so especially with folic acid, it would literally start to cover and coat your cell receptors for folate, which folate is a huge part of the methylation cycle of the breaking down and building of different nutrients and products that your body needs. So let's see. So I want you to think of like a garbage disposal. You put big pieces into it and it's supposed to grind it up, get it down, take it, and put it through the different processes to get it out of the house. Well, what happens if you never turn on that garbage disposal? The stuff never goes down. It just sits there. It starts to rot. It creates a stink in the house. The sink doesn't work. Like water might trickle through, but it starts to build up back up, and you start having different effects, of that being in the sink. Or if it only works halfway and it's only able to chop half amount of what's going on, you're still having a backup. You're still having stench and problems, and it's not fun. So very similar to a methylation cycle of if, depending on different copies that you have, different MTHFR gene mutations, depends on how the percentage of efficiency that your methylation cycle and all those processes are functioning at. For instance, if someone you can have 2 copies. You can have 2 of the same copy of the gene. You can have 2 of 2 different copies, or 1 of 1 copy and 1 regular gene. You always have 2 working together. So what happens is, if you have 2 of the same, it bumps it down. I think, if I'm saying the right numbers, around like 10 to 20% efficiency. If you just have 1 copy, it's down to 50%. So what does that mean? Any chemicals or synthetic forms of anything, think medicine, think pesticides, like things your body would naturally be able to detox. It's a detox cycle. It is basically not able to do that as effectively. It's only doing it at a 50% or a 10 or 20 or 30, depending on how all that works. what can you do about it? So Dr. Ben Lynch, he has a list of different things that you can do to help. And the cool thing is plexus helps us practically do these things. The first one is reduce stress. Now you have mental and physical stress, those two things. And so basically in the triplex, you have something called Slim. It's a powder. You put it in 8 ounces of water, you mix it up, stays cold. It helps balance your blood sugar. So what does that mean? Well, if your blood sugar isn't balanced, your adrenals are just pumping and going to produce cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And you have to methylate cortisol to get rid of it. So if your body's like at 50%, you're in high stress situations a lot, you have a lot of cortisol, it's not breaking down. You'll see a lot of people under high stress, they have gray hairs. Well, why do they keep getting more and more gray hairs? Well, your body produces basically like a hydrogen peroxide, but it's not supposed to sit in your body. It's supposed to be broken down in part of the methylation cycle. So when this doesn't happen, it stays in your body. So when it stays in your body, what happens to hair when it gets hit with hydrogen peroxide? It gets bleached. It gets whitened or lightened. So you see just different amounts or different things that are affecting different areas of the body in a cascade effect. So you have the Slim, which is also called the pink drink. It helps reduce that stress hormone, cortisol. And a fun fact is a lot of people eat sugar to reduce their stress. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, I just like a little chocolate at the end of the day or something sugary. Well, sugar naturally helps reduce cortisol temporarily, but will spike it later because it makes the blood sugar go up and down pretty fast. So that's one reason Slim will specifically help people with sugar cravings, is because it starts to balance that blood sugar so you don't have those spikes and you don't have that need to try to treat the cortisol that you feel is just pumping through your body like that, for those who might have a sugar addiction, it's almost like a letdown, like a type thing. Well, what happens is with Slim, it flatlines it, and you don't need that release. You're already healthy, starting to run optimally. So eliminate blockages. You want to become educated in the type of food you're eating, in the type of supplements, what's synthetic, things like organic versus non-organic, which types you should and shouldn't be buying, just because if your natural detox process in your body isn't able to hand the chemical loads that you're putting into your body, then it's going to have just a longer term effect. So if you can eliminate that and just make a lighter load while your body is in the process of healing, because your genetics express differently every single day, depending on what you eat and what supplements you take. So that's the cool part. It's not stuck. It's very organic in the way that it works. So that's eliminating blockages. Again, remember the folic acid can cover the folate receptors, so just being aware of things like that. Let's see, resupply nutrients. Well, we can't talk about one thing in the body without talking about 10 things in the body, because they're all connected. They're all in the same body. So most Americans have a magnesium deficiency, and not all magnesiums are created equal. So we have something called the BioCleanse, and it is a gentle cleanse on a cellular level. Because what happens is the magnesium has been combined with oxygen, so when it hits the digestive tract, it releases oxygen into the bloodstream to then start to help clean it on a cellular level. And then you also have the magnesium combined with sodium bicarbonate, which makes it bioavailable. If you don't have something combining with magnesium to make it bioavailable, it will not be able to enter your cells. It will just float around in your body, and typically it ends up in joints, can cause inflammation in joints like that. So it's really important to know, or find someone who knows of what magnesiums you should be using and make sure it's bioavailable. So we have that, and then there's we also have the X Factor Plus. Now this is a multivitamin. It is fully methylated. The vitamin B's and the folate are methylated, so it has that extra methylation piece, so it becomes bioavailable and bioactive. So now your body doesn't have to work on breaking it down or having it go through that process to make it available for the body to use. It's already in a ready state, and so it makes it a lot more easier on your body. You can absorb it. People with the MTHFR need to have that methylation piece for that. Now you can eat leafy greens, which have natural folate, natural foods high in vitamin B. You will also assimilate it that way. But if you're already nutrient deficient, then this is a good, especially with a leaky gut, that's a common problem. This is a really, really good, strong, clean multivitamin that will help that, and it has aloe in it, so it will help everything absorb up to 300 times more, all the supplements you're taking. Also, it's healing on the gut, so really, really fun. And you want to get rid of candidas, number 4. So that is a yeast overgrowth. So what we have is, typically, you want 80% good bacteria and 20% bad bacteria in your gut. Well, a lot of times it's flipped, and it's 20% good and 80% bad. And when that happens, that's when leaky gut happens, because the yeast starts to literally digest the lining of the intestines, and it pokes holes in it, and just think of toxic juices, chemicals, different things leaking out. So I want you to think of, like, a lot of people have dairy allergy. Well, dairy is extremely inflammatory. If it stays in the gut and it's sealed off in there, your body can, break it down, not break it down, but it doesn't cause crazy inflammation. For a healthy gut, is able to move it out and push it to waste. Well, if you have leaky gut, it's getting out into the bloodstream, and it's really inflammatory, so it's causing a lot of inflammation all over the body and in the gut. So it's really important to have something that can go in, kill off the yeast, and at the same time put in the good guys, the good probiotics, to start the healing process. And so the cool thing is, we have something called ProBio 5. There is not another probiotic like it out there. It is freeze-dried, and all the 5 strands in it deal with, they're anti-inflammatory naturally, and they help fight off yeast overgrowth, and they are heat resistant. So in any place in your body, or highly heat resistant, any place in your body is warm, it's hot, it will make it to the places. It is shown to have made it all the way to the colon, which is really, really important, because that's a hard place to get to, but it's also really important to have the good bacteria there. So that's very important. So you have that. It also, in combination, the ProBio 5, you have enzymes that are breaking down things like meat proteins. It's breaking down the yeast overgrowth. It's cracking the shell around the yeast. It's helping kill it off. It has vitamins that are fully methylated, that the new bacteria can break down, digest, and implement into the body, which helps boost the immune system. Now, the cool part about bacteria in your gut, it is a switch that will turn things on or off. For instance, if you have estrogen in your body, and it goes through, I believe, the liver, and I hope I'm remembering right, it goes through the liver, and it gets, if it's not supposed to be used, it gets turned off, sent into the gut to go to waste. Well, if there's bad bacteria, there is specific bad bacteria that will turn that estrogen back on, and it will get reabsorbed into your body. And when that happens, you have over of estrogen in your body, and that creates, that's where you have estrogen feeding cancer. You have, it causes hormone issues, like crazy periods, and just different things like that. Just really can make you really moody, and yeah. So you have that where, and if you have the good bacteria, it doesn't switch it on. It makes it stay neutral and it goes straight to waste. So it's really important to have that balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut to do that. Now he says another, number 5, is to get rid of inflammation. So Slim balances your blood sugar, helps reduce that cortisol, so it's reducing inflammation. BioCleanse is releasing oxygen into your body, and oxygen is naturally reducing inflammation. Then you have ProBio 5 that has anti-inflammatory properties in it that just help boost your immune system and help heal the gut and help reduce overall inflammation in your gut and your body. Ease is another amazing tool that they have. It uses one of the most powerful natural sources out there to reduce overall body inflammation. It's the New Zealand lipid mussel. And it also has an extract of turmeric. We know, you might know how incredible turmeric is for inflammation. So it has all these ingredients. And also the aloe in the X Factor Plus is very anti-inflammatory, very calming and soothing for the body. So you have all these different pieces working together to heal the gut, balance your blood sugar, reduce the inflammation, and really create a system for your body to work optimally, to start healing. And Dr. Benjamin Lynch, he talks about undirtying your genes, because the more you put pressure on those genes when they're already not working well, the dirtier they're going to act, because they're trying to handle the load. So if you start to reduce that pressure off those, off the genetic mutations and off the genes, then you're really helping it to clean out and start to work the way that it's supposed to. So I love that Plexus has really developed a system that helps so well, and that they saw that the MTHFR gene mutation was coming in the forefront of science, and so they added that into the piece of their supplements. So it's really exciting to see that they're staying on the forefront of what's happening in the medical community, of not only in gut health but also on the genetic side. And so these tools have been really helpful to our bodies, to me and my families. And it has another thing that is, you might notice, is histamine levels. Now that's where a lot of allergies and stuff come up. Well, what happens is when you're dealing with those different things that Benjamin Lynch said to reduce, you are also reducing the amount of histamine that's staying in your body, and your body's able to start to process and break it down. And that's really important, just overall, because I believe histamines can be stressful for your body to handle, and that causes inflammation. So those are fun things. This is what I learned about MTHFR and how Plexus can help it. Again, this is tools to help you walk. It takes time, consistency, and working with your sponsor to really hone into making these tools work for your benefit and help your body work optimally and start to heal itself, because your body is made incredible. So I hope you enjoy this video, and the person who showed you this, go talk to them and ask them more. All right, bye.